Do you ever walk into a room and feel like nobody notices, that you're not respected, you're not admired, nobody seems interested in what you're doing, and no one seems to give a shit? Do you feel like, despite working hard, that you don't have the respect that you crave? How does it make you feel when you see other people doing big things? Does it inspire you? Does it make you feel resentful? Do you feel lost and invisible in a sea of high performers? Do you think they got lucky? Maybe. Do you think they worked hard? Probably. Do you think they set a goal or a intention about what they're going to do with their life? Do you ever feel stuck and that the actions that you take don't align with the values that you purportedly hold dear? Do people want to collaborate with you? Do they seek you out? Do you lack discipline? Do you feel like you've got nothing to talk about in social occasions? When you say that you're going to do a thing, do you believe it? Does your life lack meaning? Or does it feel colourful? Are you grateful or are you pissed off? Do you have purpose? Do you have drive? Do you feel like there's something bubbling underneath? Like you are meant for something more than this? Like you're constantly breaking promises to yourself and others? What do you think about yourself? Do you even feel worthy of success? Or does the idea of success make you feel guilty? Do you lack authority in the things that you care about? Do you feel like life is just passing you by? The days are long, but the years are short. I felt quite a lot of those emotions a few years ago. The other day I came across a journal entry from May 2022. This morning marked another day in a long pattern of refusing to wake up to my hyper-personalised voice alarm clock. My Samsung allows me to add a short message which gets read aloud by the overtly Queen's English AI lady. Today's message is, "Today is a new day, Jason. Christ, and I wonder why I struggled." It's not exactly inspiring, is it? In all fairness, it was better than yesterday, considering it was still morning when I finally managed to prop myself up against the headboard, forcing my eyes wide while gazing across the bedroom to the once white, saggy teabag-stained looking wallpaper. Then it begins, the rudderless search through my jaded, overstimulated prefrontal cortex for some direction, some meaning, some reason to get up and just open the fucking curtains. Even after setting intentions the night before about how I'd start the day, some yoga perhaps, meditation, a run, or even just making myself a coffee to enjoy in bed, I am somehow paralysed and unable to take the first step into my day. Reading that back did feel quite emotional, and it made me think about the progress that I've made and how I can help others who may be feeling the same way. So that is the purpose of today's video. I want to help you if you are feeling this way, if you're feeling like you are stuck, like your life lacks meaning. I'm going to give you a solution that will help you make some steps forward. Around that same point in time, I had a lot going on, a lot of stressors. I'd not long gotten out of a relationship, and one of my grandparents had just died and had gone through a really tough battle with dementia. I guess it was a little bit of a rock bottom moment in terms of things getting so bad that you will actually do something about them. And I remember thinking, what kind of challenge could I put in place in which at the end of that period, I would be a totally different person? And that was one of the things that really attracted me to this thing I called Dementia Dip. And essentially it was raising money for the local hospice who had been very good with my granddad towards the end of his life. And actually my nana who had passed away a couple of years prior. And I wanted to both raise money for the hospice and do something whereby at the end of it, I knew that I would be a completely different person. So it was 3 minutes every day for 3 months of getting into this cold plunge, which is basically an old, it was a council bin that I put in my backyard. And I'd dabbled with a little bit of the cold water stuff, but I hadn't done it on a consistent basis. But I thought, if I can do that every day for 3 months, the discipline that I would develop at the end of it, like, you've got to remember, at that point in time, I couldn't even get up in the morning, other than like when I had to go to work, fair enough, but I couldn't get up on my days off. I had no purpose or drive. I never used to. This was like before the days of gym and high rocks and podcasting, etc. So it was a very different thing. And this is why I suppose I'm talking about this particular story, is because it feels to me that that was the start of all these other good things that happened in my life and started to build up the person that you see today, whether you think that's a good thing or not. So I set about with this challenge. I put up a Just Giving page and I film myself every day. So I put it on TikTok and Instagram. And when I look back on the videos now, I'm like super awkward, and it's like, oh, bless him. Obviously, there's a few things going on there. There's like kind of talking to camera, there's the cold water thing, there's the discipline, there's all these other things that are kind of that made it a really high leverage challenge to do. And by doing it on social media, I was getting that instant feedback from others. I think probably the key with this particular challenge is that I probably didn't have that much motivation to do something for myself, and it probably felt selfish of me to do something like super self-interested, even though that's probably what I wanted to do at the end of the day. But by using a charity to kind of take that away from like my selfishness, if that makes sense, then that allowed me to motivate me to do something for myself or whatever. It's the classic thing, isn't it? Like running a marathon and raising money for charity, or doing a walk challenge, something like that, whereby we're doing it for us, but that's a nice little thing that will motivate us at the same time. And the challenge was difficult. I even actually stopped halfway through, and this was the time before I'd given up drinking, and I sort of fallen off the wagon a little bit. And then I decided, I think there was a few weeks where I didn't do it, but then I got back on the wagon and then I completed it. And it was towards the end of summer after the challenge, I did start to notice a shift in others' perception of me. There's one story in particular that sticks out for me. I was at a family wedding. It was a beautiful summer's day, and we were in the in-between bit after the daytime and before the nighttime, where those who have a room within the hotel go off for a little bit of a sleep. And there's a few people scattered around the hotel, and one of those was my cousin Andy Allen, who's been on the podcast since, and our connection and friendship trajectory, the groundwork of which was kind of set in place during this wedding. And we were chatting about various things, a little bit of small talk, and I mentioned the cold water thing. And I remember straight away seeing a total shift in his interest. And now, knowing Andy as well as I do now, he's an extremely curious person and is especially interested in someone who's doing something slightly different and out of the ordinary. And I was talking about how amazing I'd felt doing the cold water. And I remember he was like, the idea of just getting a cold shower would be too much to him. But this ended up changing both of our lives. We ended up doing a podcast together, and Andy, being Andy, really got into the cold water thing himself. And then he started doing Wim Hof breathing, etc. And it sort of snowballed from there. So my key point here is that people respect and want to align with those that demonstrate discipline in overcoming challenges. Human beings dread having nothing to talk about in social settings, and by having an interesting challenge to share, you make it easier for others to speak to you, naturally making you more magnetic than most. Of course, there are many others who have done similar and much more impressive challenges than me. Take Ross Edgley. He became the first person to swim around Great Britain, and then subsequently his public following exploded. Podcast interviews, TV, brand deals, etc. And not that I've been to a wedding with Ross, but I could imagine people just flock to him because he's got so many interesting stories from the challenges that he's done. The benefits of completing such a challenge, of course, go far beyond just what others think of you. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. James Clear. Midway through my challenge, I'd started building up this self-confidence that I could do hard things. And that's when I started first getting into consistent training. Before that, my consistency in the gym had been random, sporadic, and almost non-existent. But it was during this period of the cold dip challenge that I created this momentum, like a snowball rolling down a hill, where you can just add in other things. The newfound confidence allowed me to achieve 9 months without drinking at that point in time. So this brings me to my second point. Showing up daily and following through on an action, whether you feel like it or not, changes your perception of self, which in turn allows you to utilize discipline and willpower in other domains of life. David Goggins is another great example of this in terms of the self-perception. Most of you will know him as this super hard Navy SEAL picture of discipline and grit, but he used to be extremely overweight, and he applied to get into the SEALs, and he was told, because he was clinically obese at the time, that he had 90 days to lose 106 pounds. So that's something like, it's around 50 kilos. So Goggins was able to use this challenge to completely change his identity. He even refers to his old identity as David and his new one as Goggins. So this guy is the epitome of how you can use a challenge to completely change your life for the better. You're in danger of living a life so comfortable and soft that you will die without ever realizing your true potential. David Goggins. One of the other surprising benefits after completing the challenge is that I really started to be seen as an authority when it came to anything to do with cold water. I would have people asking me or advice, like, how do you do it? Like, what's your process? Do you have any breathing techniques, etc.? And it's like, all I've done is film myself getting into this bin for 90 days. And it's really remarkable how people will start to perceive you, because that authority isn't just about cold water. It's about discipline, showing up, doing what you say you're going to do. And you really start to build a reputation off that. And especially if you decide to do something like this in public, then it's going to be reinforced even more. And this brings me on to my final point. Documenting or publishing your journey in real time offers an accelerated social status feedback loop, which garners authority and reinforces your new identity, all while holding you accountable in the process. Not only did I obviously enjoy that kind of newfound authority, but those people asking me stuff during the challenge about cold water, etc., and liking and commenting it was reinforcing that new identity, which helped me show up more. There are so many other examples that I can think of when it comes to this public accountability authority feedback. Think about hardest geezer, you know, that Russ Cookson guy. No one had heard of him, and he decides to run the length of Africa and document his process every day. Now he obviously memed himself using that hardest geezer thing, but it's like, yeah, guy's pretty hard. He literally ran the full length of Africa. If he had not done that in public, he wouldn't have got the sponsors that he got along the way. And I don't know whether he would have completed it. Maybe he would have, but clearly it was constantly feeding back in while he's sharing his progress along the way. So it is really a useful thing to be able to be doing this thing in public to reinforce it. Jocko Willink, super scary former Navy SEAL guy who's also another bastion of modern discipline. He posts a picture of his watch that says 4:30 a.m. every single morning when he wakes up. And again, look at him as a guy who you would think would have this intrinsic discipline, but even he is clearly using that as a way to reinforce this identity and hold him accountable. And the last example on the authority marker, I came across an Instagram account the other day where they're trying to take £1 and turn it into £1 million, and they're posting their journey every day. And me as a podcaster, I found that fascinating. So I reached out to them to be like, hey, do you want to have a chat? Like, I'd love to hear about your process here. So they've got public accountability, but also it's the authority signal, which was the biggest one for that. And it's not like they've written a book or anything like that, but they're just, because they're doing that thing, instantly I go authority, because they're doing the thing rather than just talking about it. And authors are a good example of this. They garner immediate authority in a topic, but the good news is for us that we don't have to become authors to start to build authority and get that public accountability. Start a challenge, publish our results in public, and then gain all the benefits from that afterwards. So now I have a challenge for you. Rather than just watching this video, using it as entertainment, as mental masturbation, I'm calling on you to take on your own challenge. I'm going to give you a simple 3-step framework that you can use today. So step 1 is to start with identity. who is the type of person that you want to become at the end of that challenge. So in my example, I wanted to become the sort of person that could do hard things. So cold water every day was a real obvious one for me. I actually love the cold water one, or cold shower, anything like that. It's just a real good all-rounder to get you to prove to yourself that you can get through hard shit. But there are lots of other ones to do. Let's say you wanted to be the sort of person who understands physics. Okay, so what would you need to do, and how long would you need to do it for to be able to be someone who understands physics? Ideally, you want it to be 5 minutes or less every day for 30 to 90 days. You can pick something you can do in 90 days. You're definitely going to see more of an identity shift. So for the physics example, it could be studying Newton's laws for 5 minutes every day for 90 days, and then at the end of it, publishing your progress. And in this example, you wouldn't have to necessarily talk about it every day. You could just summarize it at the end of the week, or publish a habit tracker showing that you've completed it and publishing it to your story, or sharing it with a few friends. Or let's say you want to be the sort of person who works out or goes to the gym. I definitely wouldn't recommend training every single day at the gym, but what you could do is purchase a program, either a pre-made program or get a coach, and just have the habit as following your program every day to the T for 90 days, and publish updates on your story, etc., ticking off the thing that you've followed the program every day. That's going to build momentum and allow people to see you that you are a person that goes to the gym. You can post stories, you can post pictures of yourself in the gym, etc. The more of that stuff, the better, because it's going to reinforce that, and people will encourage you on that journey. So really have a think about the sort of person you want to become. Find a challenge, pick a time frame, ideally 90 days, and then find a way to track it. So you can do it with a piece of paper, you can do it in a habit tracker template that you'll be able to find online, or you can use InDeep, which is my habit tracking software with social accountability baked in. And if the first 5 people to sign up for free to InDeep from this video, I will email you to help you with your challenge personally. I'll be your free accountability buddy. So you have all the reasons to do it. You've got the tools to do it. And you're even going to get some support from me. So go to indeep.com/podcast. That's INDIIP.com/podcast. Claim your free month on there, and I will drop you an email to see how you're getting on. So I hope this has been useful for you. Just remember, think about the sort of person that you'll be at the end of that challenge and how it's going to map over to different domains of life. I promise you that it will change your life and you will never regret doing it. I wish you the best of luck. Don't forget, go to InDeep, start it there, and let me know how you get on with your challenge. I'll see you in the next one.